Someone cut you off in traffic and ruined your entire mood. A coworker made one comment and you've been thinking about it for hours. People who never get rattled aren't lucky. They've just learned something most people never figure out. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what that is. Small things get under your skin more than they should. That's not a flaw. That's a skill you haven't been taught yet. Let's get into it. 1. You are not reacting to people. You are reacting to your interpretation of people. Here's something that will change how you see everything. When someone says something rude to you, you don't react to their words. You react to the story you instantly create about what those words mean. Someone ignores your message and you think, they don't respect me. Your boss gives you short feedback and you think, they think I'm incompetent. A stranger gives you a cold look and you think, they don't like me. But here's the truth. You made all of that up. The person who ignored your message might be overwhelmed. Your boss might be distracted. The stranger might have back pain. You took neutral information and your brain, in a split second, turned it into a personal attack. This is called cognitive distortion. And nearly every moment of unnecessary anger comes from this one habit. You don't see what happened. You see what you assumed happened. The fix isn't to be naive or pretend everything is fine. The fix is to pause for 1 second before your brain writes the story. Ask yourself, do I actually know what this means? Or am I guessing? Most of the time, you're guessing. And once you see that, the anger has nothing to hold on to. 2. Emotionally strong. People don't lower their expectations. They stop making people responsible for their peace. This one is subtle, but it runs deep. Most people get angry because someone failed to behave the way they expected. Your friend canceled plans. Your partner didn't notice your effort. Your coworker took credit for your work. And the anger feels completely justified because, honestly, those things aren't okay. But here's the problem. When your inner calm depends on other people behaving correctly, you've handed the remote control of your mood to someone else entirely. Anyone can press your buttons at any time, simply by not being who you needed them to be. Emotionally settled people make a different choice. They still have standards. They still address things that need to be addressed, but their peace doesn't wait for permission from other people's behavior. Their baseline mood isn't up for negotiation. Think of it this way. Imagine your peace is a phone. Most people leave it sitting on the table where anyone can pick it up. The goal is to put it in your pocket. Others can still affect you, but nobody gets to grab it without your consent. You do this by being clear privately about what you can control and what you can't. You can control your response. You can control whether you speak up. You can control whether you walk away. You cannot control how someone else chooses to act. The moment you accept that fully, the anger starts to lose its grip. And here's what that actually feels like in practice. Something happens that would normally set you off. Instead of the usual spike of heat and defensiveness, there's a pause. A small, quiet moment where you recognize that this person's behavior is theirs, not yours. That pause is the skill. And the more you use it, the wider it gets. 3. Anger is almost always about something older than this moment. Here's something most people never realize. When a small thing makes you furious, it's rarely about the small thing. Someone corrects you in public and you feel a rush of rage that's completely out of proportion. Why? Because somewhere behind that moment is a memory of being humiliated as a kid. Someone dismisses your idea and you shut down for the rest of the day. Why? Because you've felt unheard for years, and this just confirmed the story. Psychologists call this being emotionally triggered. The present situation pulls the pin on something that was already loaded. The other person didn't cause the explosion. They just happened to be standing near it. This is actually good news, because it means most of your anger isn't about the people around you at all. It's about unresolved things inside you, and those can be worked with. Start noticing when your reaction feels bigger than the situation. That's the signal. Ask yourself, what is this actually reminding me of? You don't need years of therapy to do this. You just need a moment of honest curiosity instead of instant blame. When you can locate the real source, the surface trigger loses most of its power. the person in front of you stops being an enemy and becomes just a person. A person who, like you, is probably carrying more than they're showing. The more you practice this, the faster it happens. What used to take days of stewing starts taking minutes. Eventually, you catch it in real time, right in the middle of the moment. That's when something genuinely shifts. You stop seeing difficult people as threats and start seeing them as information about yourself. 4. The most underrated tool for calm is knowing your own patterns. Emotionally reactive people know they get angry. Emotionally intelligent people know exactly when, why, and under what conditions they lose it. This is called self-awareness, but that word gets overused. Here's what it actually looks like in practice. You notice that you're most irritable when you're tired or haven't had space to think. You notice that criticism from certain people hits harder than from others, usually people whose opinion you've unconsciously decided matters the most. You notice that crowded, noisy situations put you on edge in a way that quiet environments don't. None of this is weakness. It's just your operating system. And once you know it, you stop being blindsided by your own reactions. Try this. After the next time you get noticeably angry or bothered, don't analyze the other person. Analyze the conditions you were in. How much sleep did you get? What was your stress level already? Was this a situation that's triggered you before? You'll start to see a pattern, and patterns can be planned around. Most people never do this audit. They spend all their energy analyzing the person who upset them and zero energy understanding why they were already primed to react. Flip that. The other person is a variable you can't control. Your internal state is one you can. Focus your attention there and you'll find you have far more power over your reactions than you ever thought. 5. You don't have to respond to everything. This might be the most practical thing in this entire video, and the most underused. Not every comment deserves a reaction. Not every rude message deserves a reply. Not every person who wants an argument deserves a participant. Most people treat every social provocation like a fire alarm. Something happens, they must respond immediately, loudly, completely. And the other person gets exactly what they wanted: your energy, your time, your mood for the rest of the day. Here's the reframe. Your attention is a resource. When someone baits you into an argument, they are asking for a piece of that resource. You are allowed to say no. This isn't passive. It isn't weak. It's actually one of the most powerful things you can do, because the person who can choose not to engage controls the whole dynamic. They're not suppressing their feelings. They're simply deciding that certain things aren't worth the cost. Practice this. Next time someone sends a message that's clearly designed to get a rise out of you, wait. Don't respond for at least 30 minutes. In that time, ask yourself, what do I actually gain by firing back? What do I lose by letting this sit? Most of the time, you'll realize that silence or a calm, short response costs you nothing and takes away all the power the other person was trying to claim. There's also something deeper happening when you master this. You stop needing to win. That need to have the last word, to correct someone, to prove your point, that's not confidence. It's insecurity wearing confidence's clothes. When you're genuinely secure, you can let things go, not because you're weak, but because you're too grounded to need the validation of being right. Not every battle is worth your weapon. 6. Equanimity is not distance. It's depth. There's a misconception about emotionally calm people. People think they just don't care, that they've gone cold, that they've numbed themselves to protect themselves. That's not it at all. The people who are hardest to rattle are often the ones who feel things most deeply. They've just developed something called equanimity, a steadiness that coexists with feeling. You can be moved without being swept away. You can be hurt without being destroyed. You can be frustrated without losing control. Equanimity is not a wall, it's a foundation. Think about the difference between a tree in a storm and a brick wall. The wall resists. If the storm is strong enough, it cracks. The tree bends. The branches shake. But the roots hold. and after the storm passes, the tree is still standing. That's what this is actually about. Not becoming someone who doesn't feel anything. Becoming someone who feels things without being controlled by them. Emotions pass through you rather than into you, because you've built roots deep enough to hold steady. You build those roots through the things we've already talked about. Understanding your triggers. Taking back responsibility for your own peace. Pausing before your brain writes a story. These aren't just tricks. They're the work that builds the roots. And like any real work, the results don't show up immediately. They show up slowly, then all at once. 7. The way you talk to yourself after a moment of anger matters more than the moment itself. This last one is the one most people miss completely. You're going to get angry sometimes. You're going to get bothered. Something is going to happen, and you won't handle it the way you wish you had. That's not failure. That's being human. What separates people who grow from people who stay stuck isn't that one group never loses their composure. It's what each group does afterward. Most people, after reacting badly, either justify it completely and they deserved it, I was right, or they spiral into shame. I'm such an angry person, I always do this. Both responses keep the pattern locked in place. The better path is honest and kind. Something like, that reaction was bigger than the situation. I can understand why I responded that way. And next time, I'll handle it differently. Then you let it go. No story, no shame, no defense. Just a clear look at what happened and a clean intention to do better. This is how emotional growth actually works. Not through a single breakthrough moment, but through dozens of small, quiet corrections over time. Every time you catch yourself and course correct, the roots go a little deeper, and slowly, without even noticing the exact moment it happened, you become someone who genuinely isn't rattled the way you used to be. People will start to comment on it. They'll say you seem different, calmer, more grounded. And they'll be right. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. And that version of you, the one who moves through the world without being at the mercy of everyone else's behavior, that's not a distant goal. It's just the result of doing exactly what you've been reading about today, one moment at a time. The goal was never to feel nothing. The goal is to be the kind of person who chooses their response instead of being controlled by it. That's the whole game. And now you know how to play it. If this gave you something to think about, share it with one person who needs it. Sometimes the right idea at the right moment changes everything. And subscribe if you want more of this.